Right, let's get on with the show. I was asked by a few people this week, would I consider restarting the questions and answers section? And one member was pushing it, and so I replied. You do realise the Q&A section is still in the shows? And the response was, well, I haven't heard them. And she said that I listen to all the shows. So I said, it's still in the shows, except I flipped the Q&A and now I ask the listeners to answer them. I guess she missed the slight change in format. And I guess no one noticed. 2 to 3 years that part in the show changed, and you all missed it, which is actually rather funny from my perspective. But it also made our show an interactive one. I ask the questions and you have to answer them. And heaven forbid, as a bonus, I got people to think for themselves. Right, let's get on. Here is just a small example, and I mean small example, of the repetitive narrative often spat out by the media, and yet too few notice it. Like the example of the 40 in Tuesday's show. Why repeat the same numbers over and over again? Because it's a program. October 2006. Tax Evasion and Ethics, a demographic study of 33 countries. June 4th, 2010, Income Inequality, Trust and Homicide in 33 countries. April 2012, Microsoft's Windows Store goes global with 33 countries. October 2013, 2 decades of measuring environmental attitudes, a comparative analysis of 33 countries. June 19, 2004, NSA uses 33 countries to intercept web traffic. February the 5th, 2016, the World Horror Organization, local Zika cases in 33 countries. January 18, 2017, was a study of 33 countries found about aging populations and innovation. May 17th, 2017, Saudi, 33 countries declare Saturday the first day of Ramadan. December 19th, 2017, when is foreign exchange intervention effective? Evidence comes from 33 countries. June 15th, 2018, West Hollywood has a $3 billion economy, larger than the economies in 33 small countries. 18th of October, 2018, there are only 33 countries UK passport holders need a visa for in advance. November the 5th, 2018, 33 countries single market for MDR and IVDR. November 26th, 2018. Think your Wi-Fi is faster than mobile internet? Not in these 33 countries. February 2019. Newlyweds rewear their wedding attire in 33 countries. March 22, 2019. US, 33 countries declare war on maritime illegalities. July 24th, 2019. Varieties of populist parties and party systems in Europe, from state-of-the-art to the application of a novel classic scheme to 66 parties in 33 countries. February 15, 2020, Pakistan, amongst 33 countries that provided medical supplies to fight the coronavirus. On we go. March 13, 2020. The United States is only one of the 33 developed countries that doesn't have a universal healthcare. March 19th, 2020. 33 countries in Africa report COVID-19 cases. April 30th, 2020. Coronavirus has yet to infect anyone in 33 countries and territories worldwide. July the 20th, 2020, with coronavirus continuing to spread rapidly in the United States, at least 33 countries have barred entry to American travelers. August the 12th, people from 33 countries bought Governor Cuomo's bizarre COVID-19 mountain poster. September the 3rd, 2020, Portuguese children sue 33 countries over climate change at a European court. October 2020. The Association of Alcohol Control Policies with Adolescent Alcohol Consumption and with Social Inequality in Adolescent Alcohol Consumption, a multi-level study in 33 countries. November 2nd. 33 countries declare there is no right to abortion. November 10th. The 2023 World Cruise opens for bookings. 118-day cruise in 33 countries. December the 11th, 2020. The death penalty. How many countries still have it? Since 2013, 33 countries have carried out at least one execution. January the 8th. A survey of some 37,000 people across 33 countries found skepticism about President Donald Trump's foreign policy agenda. January 9th, 2021. The COVID strain B.1.1.7 has been detected in 33 countries so far. January 13th. Philippines expands temporary crew change ban to 33 countries. January 28th. 584 hydrogen fueling stations launched in 33 countries. February 10th. India launches 328 satellites from 33 countries so far. Last week we ran the story of the UK and Irish residents who have been in one of the 33 red list countries in the last 10 days will have to quarantine in an assigned hotel room for 10 days at least. 33. Like I said, that was a small sample. 33 is all very Egyptian Masonic cult, or perhaps in their world there is only 33 countries. The US non-Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, says Congress will establish an outside independent commission to investigate the 6th of January attack on the US Capitol building by supporters of Donald Trump. In a letter to lawmakers, she said the commission would be modelled on the inquiry into the September 11th, 2001 attacks on New York and the Pentagon. God. Oh dear. And she said, quote, "We must get to the truth of how this happened," unquote. Modelled on the 9/11 Commission. Oh dear. I guess that will be a whitewash then, whereby key witnesses were left out or killed and real evidence dismissed in a massive cover-up. In other words, it won't contain any common sense. Perhaps Mrs. Pelosi will be investigating this next piece then, which was used by her and other Democrats as the excuse to impeach Donald Trump. Remember the Capitol police officer that was involved in the chaos on January the 6th and died the next day. And it was reported by the Portal people that protesters had beaten him with a fire extinguisher, and he died. And his death was used to accuse Mr. Trump of inciting murder, which was a rather serious charge that was levelled against Trump by top Democrats. Yet the story that Officer Sicknick was bludgeoned to death was never confirmed, as the area was filled with surveillance cameras, and yet there was no footage to support the claims. Just like 9/11. But this didn't stop the media to cover the story and use the case to encourage rage and chaos amongst the people. And the New York Times sensationalist coverage of Sicknick's death was one of the most influential at the time, with the inflammatory headline of Capitol Police Officer dies from injuries in pro-Trump rampage. However, this week, the paper has now quietly corrected the report, explaining that Sicknick's death was not caused by being attacked with a fire extinguisher. Now, things started to unravel and become clearer after Clinton News Network reported that investigators could not build a murder case around Officer Sicknick's death, since the reports of being beaten with the fire extinguisher were not true. Oops. Now, in the 8th paragraph of the CNN report, it said medical examiners did not find signs that the officer sustained any blunt force trauma. So investigators believe that early reports that he was fatally struck by a fire extinguisher are not true. And one possibility being considered by investigators is that Sicknick became ill after interacting with a chemical irritant like pepper spray or bear spray that was deployed in the crowd. So if that's the case, then the police killed their own officer. They're the ones with all the sprays. And yet again, this is more evidence of agency-based lies, all done for the public distraction of impeachment. So you forget what is really going on. And here is an example or a reminder of our forgetfulness. Has anyone noticed there is zero mention of lockdowns ending in this country? Now, in the UK and the EU countries, they dangle carrots of when it will end. But this country, nothing. Why? Because the people don't question it. People talking without speaking. Silence like a cancer grows. The US top infectious disease expert, that's a laugh in and of itself, Anthony Fauci, has been awarded a prestigious $1 million Israeli prize for his commitment to science. Dr. Fauci, who was often at odds with President Trump over how to handle the pandemic, was given the Dan David Prize for defending science. And he was also praised for advocating for COVID vaccines and for his leadership on HIV research and AIDS relief. Dr. Fauci, who is 80, has advised 7 US presidents, and he was recognized for, quote, courageously defending science in the face of uninformed opposition during the challenging COVID crisis, unquote. And then they said he is the consummate model of leadership and impact in public health. What a surprise that is. Not. Dr. I don't give a Fauci has been the model agent for the doom and death, for the creation of the fear program to lower the world's vibration again. Make people complicit, become guinea pigs, and give up their lifestyles on the back of an engineered fraud. All applauded and admired from the peanut gallery containing the Hebrew Anunnakis. North Korea. Wondering when clowns in America would pop back up again with their bullshit news. And North Korea attempted to steal COVID-19 vaccine technology from the US pharmaceutical company Pfizer, according to the South Korea intelligence officials, which is a misnomer in and of itself. And it is currently unclear as to what, if any, data was stolen. South Korea's National Intelligence Agency privately briefed lawmakers about the alleged attack and was reported in the local news agency Yonhap. North Korea has yet to report a single case of coronavirus. I'll repeat that again. North Korea has yet to report a single case of coronavirus. I guess all the nuclear weapons he fires off has made them all immune, perhaps. Who knows? However, it said the country is due to receive 2 million doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine in the coming weeks. And North Korea closed its borders in January last year, soon after the virus began to emerge in China, which it didn't. And in November, Microsoft said at least 9 health organizations, including Pfizer, had been targeted by state-backed organizations in North Korea and Russia. Ooh. And it said North Korean groups dubbed Zinc and Cerium and a Russian group named Fancy Bear were responsible. Now, the Kremlin has denied targeting other countries' vaccine research. That is essentially more clowns in America bullshit. And someone will get fired in Langley this week for that report. Why? They never mentioned Iran as hackers as well. Oops. North Korea, Russia, Iran. Same story, same narrative, same clowns. South Korea National Intelligence Agency is Langley, just saying. Writing in the US Naval Institute this week, Admiral Charles A. Richard warned that the military must consider the possibility of great power competition, crisis, or direct armed conflict with a nuclear-capable peer. And we must update and modernize its approach to its two principal adversaries. He said there's a real possibility that a regional crisis with Russia or China could escalate quickly to a conflict involving nuclear weapons, he wrote. And he was demanding that the United States prepare for the conflict we prefer instead of one we are likely to face. Richard accused the Chinese of making technological leaps in capabilities in every domain and Russia of aggressively modernizing its nuclear forces. And he concluded that the probability of nuclear use is low, but not impossible, particularly in a crisis, and as our nuclear-armed adversaries continue to build capability and exert themselves globally. and that the US risks suffering embarrassment or worse if they do not act. Now, the Admiral's words closely echo a recent report from the Atlantic Council, a body that is filled with top American generals, Black Sun, and closely linked to NATO, which is clowns working for the Rothschilds then. All one and the same, as far as we the people are concerned anyway. Now, the council advised Biden to draw a number of red lines around China. Ooh, the agents are going to get new crayons for their games. Jolly good. Past which the US would respond militarily, and these include virtually any Chinese military actions in the South China Sea, cyber attacks on its neighbours, or even a North Korea strike on its adversaries. And he said any backing down from the brink, the council insisted, would mean national humiliation for the United States. It's not national humiliation. Stop talking like children of they have a bigger ball than we do. It's utterly pathetic talk. Do these people think before they speak? Clearly not. And it is imperative in the future we employ adult thinking people in these positions based on common sense and the desire to protect the all, not play dick-swinging games with fake countries. The point is, this planet belongs to us all, and it's high time all people recognise that and call out these infant-level people who thrive, it seems, on creating fear, division and wars that coincidentally or coincidentally none of them take part in it. They leave that all to the poor, remember? Now, in recent months, the United States has taken a number of provocative military actions on China's doorstep. And in July, it conducted naval exercises in the South China Sea with warships and naval aircraft spotted just 41 miles from the coastal megacity of Shanghai, intent on probing China's coastal defences. And in December, it flew nuclear bombers over Chinese vessels close to Hainan Island. And last year, Florida Senator Rick Scott stated that every Chinese national in the US was a communist spy and should be treated with extreme suspicion. Touché, Mr. Scott. And Scott's words are indicative of a broader propaganda war against China. In 2011, the American public's view of the country was strongly favourable. However, due in no small part to fear-mongering stoked by politicians and portal people pundits, nearly 3/4 of Americans now hold negative views of China. With 3/4 have never even been there. How can you have an opinion when you've never even been there? With less than 1/4 positively rating the country. You know, remember, the trustee was in on this act a few months ago and claimed she turned all the nuclear warheads towards China. Why? And I guess my concerns about the incident in the 100 show becomes more prevalent by the day. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And here's one of the reasons why America and China are playing mind games, and yet we are still sending our drastically reduced monetary supply to this fake country. Over 20 Israelis, including former employees of Israeli defense firms, have been investigated for illegally selling weapons to US rivals in Asia. And most of the details of the investigation, including which countries are involved, are under a gag order. National Security Act, you know who implements that. And sources with knowledge of the investigation said the case was highly sensitive, as it could affect Israel's foreign relations and lead to a crisis between superpowers. At which point do people get enough balls in high positions and call it out for what it is? That country, fake country, is stiff in this country, left, right and centre, yet dickhead clowns in agencies want to focus on China, Russia, North Korea and Iran. Hello, elephant in the room. Then we got a report out of Holland, or the Netherlands, whichever you prefer. The national curfew will be lifted immediately, and the group Virus Waarheid, which means Virus Truth, started a lawsuit a while ago against the curfew since it was implemented. The judges are in their favour and agreed that the curfew will be lifted immediately. And this was according to a website, iamexpat.nl. The same day, the Dutch government appealed. Then just as quick, the Dutch government overturned it all in one day. It's funny that, isn't it? How quick they move when working for the system, isn't it? Yet take months or years to make a decision beneficial for the people. China has now banned the BBC World News from broadcasting in the country, its television and radio regulator announced on Thursday. Now, China has been criticising the BBC for its reporting on the coronavirus, for incorrectly stating it started in China, because it didn't, and the persecution of the ethnic minority Uyghurs. Now, the BBC said it was disappointed by the decision, and it follows the British media regulator Ofcom revoking state broadcaster China Global Television Network licence to broadcast in the UK. Now, separately, the broadcaster Radio Television Hong Kong said it would stop relaying BBC World Service programming in the region, which prompted condemnation from the BBC. Now, China's State Film, TV and Radio Administration said the BBC World News report about China were found to seriously violate broadcast guidelines, including the requirement that the news should be truthful and fair and not harm China's national interests. It said that the BBC's application to air for another year would not be accepted. Now, the BBC said in a statement, "We are disappointed that the Chinese authorities have decided to take this course of action." And then it said, "The BBC is the world's most trusted international news broadcaster and reports on stories from around the world fairly, impartially, and without fear or favour." The BBC, surely you jest with your impartiality and fairness. I saw none of that with Mr. Trump, with their analytical pieces daily of and on every single word he said. And when that has not applied to any other country's leader, including Biden. But then again, the BBC is run by MI5-6, and like the American BS that passes off as news, they are run by the CIA. And the point is, no news media is run on the basis of actual and factual reporting anymore, and is ran by largely idiots in the oxymoron named intelligence agencies. Core pirate BS is the next couple of pieces. Amazon has sued New York's top prosecutor over her probe of the firm's response to COVID-19 safety concerns, including its firing of workers who spoke out with concerns. The company said Attorney General Letitia James was applying an inconsistent and unfair standard for workplace safety to Amazon, and it asked the court to stop her inquiry. Ms. James called the move a sad attempt to distract from the facts and also shirk accountability. We will not be intimidated by anyone, especially corporate bullies that put profits over the health and safety of working people, she said in the statement, and we remain undeterred in our efforts to protect workers from exploitation, and we will continue to review all of our legal options. Nice to see some are taking the fight to these global merchandise control system groups, and many more needs to do it. That company has to go down. Amazon is in this next story. An investigative outlet, The Intercept, has drawn attention to Amazon ramping up employment of former US Federal Bureau of Investigation operatives, FBI, to its Global Security Center in Goodyear, Arizona. And a cursory search of the company's employees via its official LinkedIn page shows 126 users mention Amazon and the agency in their profiles, and at least 20 FBI veterans were hired between 2017 and 2020 alone. And that the e-commerce giant has enlisted their services is hardly surprising, and neither is it exceptional. But companies small and large in many industries actively seek out and benefit from the experience of seasoned security services professionals. That is not correct. It's all a ruse. But as the report says, however, this recruitment drive takes on a deeply disquieting dimension when one considers some of the hires could be used for the purposes of gathering intelligence on Amazon employees. Bingo! Particularly those involved in attempted labour organisation and disrupting and preventing trade union activism. Now, The Intercept drew particular attention to two senior Amazon staffers whose FBI histories, which both span around 24 years, strongly suggest they would be adept to such activities. And Cindy Wettstein, born to, joined the company as a senior intelligence analyst in October 2020, straight from the Bureau, where she most recently led a squad of personnel researching, analysing and mitigating national security threats, and supervised collection, collation, manipulation and organisation of data from multiple sources by intelligence personnel. Amazon, now sponsored by the FBI, is in essence what is being revealed here. And the role of the FBI has been corrupted massively since the introduction of the CIA, Department of Homeland Security and NSA, and morphed into not a crime-solving enterprise, but some elements within it seem to run it as a crime syndicate. The Nucl report revealed that as much also. But that is not the only global conglomerate that the FBI are involved in either. In 2012, fearing a wave of labour activism, just like Amazon, Walmart reportedly developed a centralised surveillance system headed by a former FBI officer named Ken Sensor to track employees' activities, sentiment and political sympathies. And when the company's security analysts received word that Occupy Wall Street demonstrators were contemplating a protest of Walmart, it swiftly engaged the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force and local police agencies. Now, the FBI's early roots focused on suppressing labour activism on behalf of business interests. Back in 1919, the agency established its General Intelligence Division that mobilised Red Squads, focused on disrupting labour organisations. Now, Red Squads was the name used as death squads in Russia around that year as well. The war in Russia was between the red and the white camps. And the most famous of the FBI raids was the Palmer raids of 1919 and 1920, during which around 10,000 people were arrested over suspected ties to communist and labour radical groups. His story repeats itself. So the alleged communists were arrested by the real communists. That's what that's telling you. And the raids, timed to coincide with the anniversary of the Bolshevik revolt in Russia, were targeted at the industrial workers of the world. At least 1,000 IWW members were later convicted under dubious charges under the Espionage Act for fighting for your job. That the union's industrial organising work was somehow part of a conspiracy to assist Germany during World War I. Oh dear. Now, whilst all in the FBI are not bad, what this proves is the agencies are not there to police domestic and foreign criminals, but to protect the control system. We'll be back shortly.